Hi there, I'm Ferdinand from AnimatorIsland.com, and today I'm gonna have a look at your submissions to the Anim Challenge Facebook group. We're gonna have a look at the submissions of July 2019 for the theme Abracadabra. And this Facebook group is amazing. There is a new topic every month. You can post your animation, you can post your work in progress, get some feedback, and have some fun animating something for a fun theme. Two of the best ways to get better as an animator is one, to analyze, to study another person's animation. You will see ideas in there that you wouldn't have yourself, things that you could steal, you could get inspired by for your own animations, and maybe there are also some things in there that aren't quite perfect, some mistakes that you can avoid in your own animations. And number two, that's incredibly helpful, it's always good to get feedback, because when you're working on an animation for hours, days, weeks, you get used to what you're seeing. You stop seeing things that you should be seeing, so it can be really helpful to get a fresh pair of eyes on it. I'm a 2D animator, mostly 2D. I sometimes do 3D character animation, and today I want to share my knowledge and my ideas with you guys. I try to be as constructive and helpful to everyone as possible, but it might be that if you're the person who worked on your animation and you put so much love and work into it, I can really see that in all your guys' animation. It might sometimes sound a little harsh if I say something, and I really don't mean to be harsh. I just mean to be helpful and constructive. It's also okay if you sometimes maybe disagree with me. I just want to get you thinking in new directions, pay attention to things that you might not have been paying enough attention to, and sometimes things come down to taste. With that being said, let's start with having a look at the first submission. I like that you have the very classic slapstick situation of somebody is trying to do something and then it doesn't work out, but then behind his back, it actually starts working. That's really cool. That's always good. I think your first reaction is a bit strong. Your first... I do like how he lifts his head initially. I really like that one. That has a little bit of anticipation, a little dip down, and then the head is going up. That's really subtle and nice. And then you have this big, huge thing that almost looks as if he's being hit by something. Personally, I think this is too strong, especially because you immediately cut back on it. You immediately go back to this much weaker pose, and I think you can do something as big as that, but then I would fully commit to it. I would stop here. Maybe that's a little bit too far, but have it be exaggerated. Just fully commit to it. I think you weaken it if you just go back to what it was. But yeah, and then I do like how you go into that anticipation with the hand. That's really cool. I feel like the settling is a bit too watered down. You have this big motion, and then he's going back and forth. I feel like that makes it a lot more wobbly than it has to be. Again, I think here you should fully commit to it. Make this big motion. You already have that. You already have that big bold motion like that. But then, just dip down once and don't weaken that big strong thing that you just did by going back and forth again. You can do a keep alive and everything, but I would just stick with these bold choices and not water them down with too much subtlety after you. Why not commit to that pose? That's really nice. And then you weaken it again. And here's the thing that I don't like about this the most. is how the elbow wiggles back and forth, how the hand is nailed in place, but the elbow and the shoulders too are moving. Like, this is something that just doesn't occur in nature, just because, you know, everything is a chain, and if the shoulder moves, the elbow should move too, and that moves the hand again. Like, in nature, it very rarely happens that you have the hand staying in one place and the elbow going up and down. Like, I really have to focus to nail my hand in place to make this happen. So you can wobble back and forth, but then, you know, the whole arm would do that. Everything would go together, and you don't have that wobbliness in there. Now here, I think what makes the story a bit difficult to read, the first time I saw it, I didn't understand that this already was supposed to be the spell. I thought in this part he was just turning and waiting for the moment where he can do his magic. Like, I didn't get that he already did his magic. So I don't really know how to fix that exactly, to be honest. But maybe he actually has to react faster, because here he already knows that it didn't work. I do love this. I feel like, again, you water down your strong pose by doing too much. Okay, I guess this is the overshoot for that one pose and the anticipation for the next one. Like, but I would like to see some frames just really cool. And I think you could maybe strengthen that even more. I do like that you have this corner here, and then you have that straight line there, and yeah, then you have another angle here. That's really great to mix angles like that. Maybe you could also like look away. And I feel like the mouth could be a lot more fun. You could experiment with, like, this expression looks a bit too normal, I feel like, almost. It's just his corners of the mouth pulled down, but I feel like you could make like an asymmetric pose. Here, I wonder if that goes a little bit too fast. Oh, come on, Facebook. If you have a little moment of pause, because here's so much happening at once. You have the camera move, and you have the thing falling, and the ball gets bigger at the same time. I feel like you need to slow this down. You could just cut into the right camera perspective, and the staff the wand would come down, and maybe as it dips down, then the ball expands, just so it's all nice and one thing after the other. Okay, really, really great work. A little rough around the edges. Be careful with the IK controller of the arm, because it gives you some really unnatural stuff in the elbow. And let's have a look at the next animation. We have some stop motion here, really nice. Look, you buddy. Oh, yeah, really cool. I always admired stop motion because it can be it's so incredible tactile, like the only form of animation that you can really touch in 3 dimensions. And at the same time, you always have to battle the stiffness and the limitations of reality. I wonder if you should strengthen the drag behind, like the staff could maybe, if it's possible for the rig, lag a little more behind and then flip over once it's here, like it should be here for 1 frame like this, and then flip over as the last thing, so you have a nice follow through. And on the way back, I wonder if you could do the same thing. Here, I think it could be a nice touch if the head and the staff would dip down. Like the moment he touches it, you could have a little contact motion where both of it moves down. And here comes the really cute bunny. I like how you have it in 2 steps, that the paws come out first. That's really nice. Really great timing. And the eye blink is so sweet. I like that little communication that they have going, that you move the head really small, really little, very subtle, but very important. Again, I wonder, oh, I love that frame. Again, I wonder if as the bunny dips down, it would have been good to also have some anticipation in the head, to have it dip down just a little teensy bit before he comes out. Might have been interesting. And there we go. Yeah, here I wonder if it was the limitations of the rig, or maybe you didn't know exactly how the bunny would touch him as you were animating the puppet. But I think it would be good to strengthen where exactly the bunny had the impact, and to make that be the point that is the most bent, and everything else is kind of still pointing to where it was. I think you could have strengthened that even more. But then, I know how these things are. You don't know exactly how it's going to be. Maybe if you worked with mixed media. I love that the head is just standing in the air. Did you just cut him out of the previous frame? Yeah, it looks like you did that. Really cool. Maybe the arm would be more like that, following the overall path of falling over. The bunny is so cute, even when he's a little terror, evil bunny. Really nice. Yeah, great work, especially with stop motion. It can be so tricky. I love it. Let's have a look at the next one. A very nice action kung fu kind of sequence. You have so many nice poses and ideas in there. I love the hand to the head, like with the 2 fingers, goes by almost too quickly to be seen. I like that. You could have held that even a tiny bit more, tiny bit longer. I mean, I get that it's supposed to be an anticipation. When I saw it for the first time, I felt that it was a little bit difficult to see that you had so much going on at the same time. Like when he's in the air, he switches poses one more time, and then the banana comes there almost at the same time, and 3 frames later, he lands on the ground. That's all just a lot. I wonder if at least 1 or 2 things you should separate a little more apart. I mean, he's already standing in the air a cartoonishly anime amount of time, which is really cool. I like that. It doesn't look wrong. It feels good. Now, what I don't quite understand is why you switch his foot pose here. Like, he jumped up in the air. That looks really good and natural because he's standing with that foot on the ground, and then he's pushing himself off. That looks really good. So that makes a lot of sense. And then, okay, his foot would come up a little bit, but then you switch and you have that foot go down and that foot go up very far. I mean, I agree that it has to go up somewhat, like from here, it at least has to go to here, that foot. But like, I feel like that is a little bit too much, and it contributes to the overall, like, something's happening here, something is happening here, something is about to happen here, and then he's about to come down. I wonder if that could have been reduced a little more, especially because it doesn't feel like it has a lot of momentum. Like, this move up almost doesn't feel like it has the right amount of ease. So yeah, I think if you would make the legs a little more quiet here, let's just hold that pose, and then maybe as he points at the banana, then you could maybe switch the feet to get this pose, you know, while he is pointing with the staff. I wonder if it might be good for the pose to get a better silhouette somehow, like to have him really, to have that break out of the silhouette. And then I don't think you have to see that arm so clearly. Maybe it could have been more bent. I don't know. I like to experiment with my poses. Like, even if I'm almost done with my animation, I would still go back to the drawing board, be like, can I find an even better pose? Yeah, so strengthening the silhouette's always a good idea. Experiment, get more poses in there, excuse me. I do like this little look at this little look up at the end. Really fitting. Yeah, he's really proud of himself. Nice. Okay, next one. Ah, another magician who tried to do something and it failed. It failed miserably. I don't understand why you take that anticipation that far. If you track the tip of the wand, it goes up here, then it dips down again, then it goes up in a nice arc. I like that arc. But I feel like, yeah, there's like this dip, this going up and dipping down again, and then going up again. You have it more like that. I think you should smoothen that out to something like that. And I feel like the spacing is not quite right. Like, you have a bunch of spacings here, and then in the end you have like huge ones here. Okay, and then he's coming back. I feel like there are just a bunch of keys in here, like 2 or 3 to get that one motion, and you can see that, but it should all feel like it's just going between 2 key poses, like it's not wobbling back and forth. And then I'm not the biggest fan of like these huge anticipations where he loses eyesight of the head. Like, why would you do that from an acting perspective? And then here, this goes really fast. Oh, I like this pose though, how the wand is lagging behind. That's really nice. Could be even slower maybe, so you see a little more of it. I like that pose though, nice silhouette, really clear. Not the biggest fan of this wide stance. I mean, I really do like the legs here in the beginning. I like that he has them close together. You have a little bit of contrast here. And that his legs are going apart like that during the jump. I really like that. That's a nice touch. That's fun. Like, I feel like from an acting perspective, let them check. Like, think about more what went wrong. Like, is this a magician, a human magician, not a wizard, somebody who set up a trick and it didn't fire off, and he looks into the top hat like, oh, why did my mechanism not work? Like, why would he react like, ooh? No, he would check what went wrong. Like, where's the bunny? Did I forget to put in the bunny? Like, think about acting. Put some acting in there. What was he expecting? What is he not getting? Is he reacting to his equipment? Is he reacting to the audience? Like, if it was really important for him to perform in front of the audience, then it could make sense to have like a quick, like, oh, embarrassing situation like that. But yeah, I think if you can answer these questions about your animation, that can make them even better. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay. Aw, a hypnotist got his chicken. That is such a creepy guy. Ideal for the hypnotist. Yeah, too bad that the pendulum like moves out of his hand. Was that like a physics simulation or what is going wrong there? I like that they have like different attitudes. I think this kind of contrast, if you have two characters, that can be really fun. That can be really cool to watch. Like he is all like, hey. I mean, his mouth could be even like his mouth is just closed. He could be more like, you know, actually saying something like, hey, everyone. Like, you know, he's presenting to a crowd. He's probably speaking. And the other guy is just skeptic and like, yeah, I don't believe it. I like the pose. Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool that it's coming out of the blue, that it is working. I just don't like how he wobbles back and forth during the hypnosis, during the or directly after it. Like, it feels a bit like there's no deliberate pose behind that. It feels like he's just like kind of like wobbling back and forth. I think it might be much better if you put intention behind it. If it's like looking at this, nothing happened, you know, like looking at the magician, you know, first he looks like that at the pendulum and then he's like have intention behind it. Like nobody wobbles like that. And for that, you know, again, acting, it would be nice to know for every moment what he's thinking. And just hold that pose. I mean, do a little bit of keep alive, but you can just hold poses. At least that's the 2D animator in me speaking. And I do like this facial expression, and there you can clearly see the snap. I feel like this has phases to it that you don't really notice in the animation, like that he's just putting his legs, his arms on the floor, like as if he's going limp, and then he's doing the shaking. I think that could be like he's waiting for a command or something. Like at the moment, it just goes under. At the moment, it's just another pose. And it could add to the story even more. But you're already at the 11 seconds, so I guess you didn't want to drag it out even more. I love how he's tossing that back. Like I don't know about that finger motion. I mean, if you do want to have a pendulum, is there anything that I can pendle? I don't think you can do that, you know, because your pendulum would just not do what it's supposed to do. To really do this, you know, you need to do really. I got a cable here. You really need to have a little bit of that motion, but not. You can't do that. I like that toss though. That's really fun. And that he's going. What kind of weird videos do I get recommended here on Facebook? Let's have a look at the next animation. Oh, I love it. This is some very nice and heavy. A very nice and heavy swing. Look at this beautiful arc of the axe. Like I really like how it's being dragged over like that, and how he's putting down the foot, and then there's a little dip down after you put down the foot. Here. Really nice. Getting that arm up. Oh, that's just beautiful. Getting that other arm up. And then the axe comes down. Again, in a very nice arc. That looks so nice and heavy. Guys, do you know why this looks so nice and heavy? Because that last spacing, this one is huge. That makes that huge impact. That's really nice. I wonder if it's a problem that you stuck it in that far, like, because, you know, the X is quite big. I wonder if it would be sufficient to stick it into the ground like that, because, you know, once you put it in that far, there's like dirt on top of it again, and it feels a little bit unbelievable that he will get it out of it at all. But I'm not an expert on that. I don't know if you can really do that with an axe. I mean, I guess if you're an ogre or an orc, you can do anything. A little thing to nitpick. I think it would have been nice if while he's tugging on the handle, if it would already move a little bit, like before it comes out, if you have it just move up a little bit, like a tiny bit, so he has a little bit of success dragging it out. Why am I painting with the mouse? I have my pen right here. You know, have it just like a tiny bit move up, like the moment he pulls really hard on it. I think it would be nice to have like the smallest little success in there. But, you know, this might be something that you can just easily add on top of it. Here, I'm not the biggest fan of those camera moves. I think it would just be better to have a cut to her closer. Yeah, just cut to her. Yeah, here I wonder, acting-wise, if you could have a little bit more going on between the characters. Like, I do like how he's looking around. Maybe he could also open his mouth, be like really like, you know, do some more acting, do some more like, you know, have a little more processing in the head. Like first, like, well, she didn't get cut in two. That's weird. And then here he's already starting pulling, but I'm missing that beat of, oh, she's over there. Like, I feel like the first look back and forth is more like processing, oh, she's in here. And then the third one should be like, oh, she's there. And then he can start tugging. Personally, I like to see the character think. I like to see those steps evolving in my character animation. I'm a big fan of that. And she could taunt him a little more, maybe. I mean, I guess she's still in the snapping the finger position there. And then really convincing how she's doing a spell. That's quite nice. And then a little bit of celebration. Really cute. Really nice. Ah, some lovely 2D animation. I love transformation scenes like that. It really reminds me of, like, I've been watching She-Ra on Netflix recently, and she got a nice transformation sequence too. I like how you're pulling that flare, that streak of magic up with the magic staff. I wonder though, I'm not the biggest fan of things moving in the image plane in front of you. Like that always gives you a very straight, and you don't have an arc if something is pointing towards you. And, you know, that's what's happening here. It's just being pointed up. I personally do like it more if you can see the arc. Like if you would do like that, you know, if you would go in an arc, maybe like this. That could be nice. And that you could use too to get some more power going up in the last distance. Like you can start with a very huge spacing, and then you can have a lot bigger spacing, and, you know, maybe do an overshoot like that. I love what's going on in the background. How you have this cloud growing, and then it gets a direction to two sides, like it builds up in the background. It's really cool. And then it goes to the left, and then it goes to the right. It's really nice. I'm not sure your spacing is always as it should be. Like, make sure that if you want stuff to feel like it's going in an ease into the shape that it's supposed to have, then make sure that you have, you know, a spacing pattern where the lines at the outside are always decreasing or increasing with every frame. But no, there's some really cool stuff going on in the background. I also like the wind in her clothes. That's nice how you just have this wave. If you look at the bottom of the skirt, that wave going through it, that's really nice. A lot of beautiful stuff going on, and also the smoke puffs that have like some nice direction. They start out with a little poof here, and then it gets dragged, and then it gets a curve. It curls up really nice. There's something about the construction of the face, I think, that could be even more solid. I'm not sure. Did you really have like a construction grid under there? Because I feel like for a few frames, like I think you want the face to dip down, but instead I feel like there's just a frame where it just grows longer. And there you can really experiment with the hairline more, you know, really dip the hairline lower if you want her to look down. Leave the ear where it is, because that's the axis that it rotates around. And yeah, I think that could have been better for the dip down, but really good that you tried something 3D-ish in 2D. It's always a huge challenge, but it can look so good. And, you know, add that third dimension. That's really good. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. There we have some music. Not sure about the copyright situation. Got a lot of swing there. That's so nice. I don't know what it is about button eyes, but they creep me out somehow. And like, I find it with that smile, I find it really creepy. But I guess it's supposed to be like an emoji, or what is it? Because also doing that facial expression. It reminds me, you know what reminds me of the other mother in Coraline with the button eyes somehow. I'm sorry if that's probably not the intention. I do like how, you know, nice speed lines, really cool. How you have these nice arcs like that, and how it's dipping down, and how the pieces of the burger are coming apart. That's some really nice touches there, some really nice details. There is, like, I like that first stirring motion, but in that second stirring motion, there's one short moment where it's going into the air that I find is far too quickly. That second stirring motion, do you see that? Now, there was this one flip up that is too fast for me. I can't single it out here, but there, that's a bit too much. That's really lovely. The breathing in, stuff like that is really difficult to animate. And I like what's going on with the hand there. I'm not sure if that pose is very natural. Oh, hey, Rainbow, my cat is here. Yeah, you knocked that down. You want to have a closer look at it? Okay, here's the thing I don't like, how it flips into the this shape at the right arm. It just suddenly snaps the fingers into it, and suddenly they're here. And it's just so straight, pointed at the camera. That's very... I feel like stuff like that looks always very artificial, like as if the character knew that the camera was in that direction. I think it's much better to have stuff a little bit at an angle. Because, you know, why in the world would the fingers be exactly parallel to the ground, exactly facing the camera? That's just too much of a coincidence, I feel like. There's so much going on. I like that you separate that finger. That's a very good thing to do with hand shapes if you have the fingers in different groups. It's really nice. So much going on there. I wish I could go through it even more frame by frame. How she tries it with the one hand at the spoon. Maybe you could separate a finger again. Have it be more like that. I don't know. I like the pose here, the finger here. This kind of reveals that she was this is a very low table when she takes the pot. You can see that the table is just like a coffee table. I wonder if the pot feels a little bit too light, if you should have a little more ease. But I mean, I guess if the pot is any heavier, it doesn't make sense that she can lift it up like that. Acting-wise, I don't really feel like I know what's going on here. I mean, I guess it's maybe just supposed to be a fun magic scene, and I don't know if there's any bigger concept behind that, rather than the idea, okay, she is a witch, but she cooks something with food and she likes it. That was probably all the concept you had. But is she cooking for someone? Is she just cooking for herself? Is that like her guilty pleasure? And she only behaves like that because nobody's looking? I wonder... I feel like... I like how she's throwing the spoon and the spoon is staying in the air. Maybe it's rotating a bit too much. Yeah, no, it's fine. Crazy animation. Just maybe some details could have been smoothed out a little more. Thank you very much for this beautiful animation. And the next one. Oh, I love those facial expressions. Oh my god, this is really well animated. What is going on with his feet there? Like, how is he moving forward? That's really nice. Okay, so he's lifting his foot really high, going down. There's a nice follow through and overlap. Do you see that? Like, the feet lagging behind and then flipping over and then going down. And then the other one is immediately up there and he's kind of like dipping to the right. It's going down and up and down and up. Really nice. This is so crazy. I love it. Oh, and this pose is so strong. Do you guys see that? Like this really strong line of action. This is so difficult to pull off in 3D. How you just have this one big line in it going through the body. You have the shoulder connecting with the arm. Oh, and this flow is so beautiful. And you have this straight here. This is so lovely. I like it so much. And these facial expressions, how he's wiggling back and forth. I also love this contrast between you have this fast and snappy motions, but then you also see how this person is holding poses? Like, he's almost completely still, and it's totally fine. 3D animators, you can hold poses. You can hold them still. It still looks fine if it's a lovely and strong pose. Oh, and I love these steps in his head. Like he's doing something. It's not working. Like his first step down, and then he's moving. And then he's really trying, wobbling. And then other forks are coming and chasing him for whatever reason. Yeah, this is obviously a lovely animation. Like, look at these hand shapes. Oh, those finger shapes. I love it. And the timing, how there are those fast and oh, look at the distortion. Nice. Oh, come on. Stop recommending me videos. I want to watch this video, Facebook. Yeah, stuff going faster and slower and pausing at the right time. Like really experiment with pauses. With stuff going, make the slower stuff slower, make the faster stuff faster, hold stuff, and you can get really lovely and snappy animation. Okay, so the only problem that I had with this animation was when I watched it for the first time, I didn't know what he was trying to do. I mean, I know there's this magician with the spoon, that you can bend a spoon, but I wonder if it will make the story even stronger if you would have that in the setup. Like if you would have him hold the fork, be like show it, maybe even showing us this can't be bent. You know, I'm almost breaking my pen here. Like this cannot be bent, but I can bend it with my mind. You know, to have this little bit of conversation with the audience going on and this little bit of establishing like, you can't bend this, but I can bend this with my might, I think. Could have been like an extra touch to lift this shot even higher, to stand even more on its own. It's just so fun. Is there a little wobble in the nose when he stands still? Yeah, there is. Look at this. Whoop. His whole head is just lovely. Guys, have a look at this animation frame by frame. There's so many cool poses in there. I really enjoyed it a lot. So, next one. She's putting magic on the broom. Okay, nice. My biggest problem is, again, acting. Like, how can the broom surprise her? Why is she closing the eyes down there? Like, okay, she got the broom to work, but she's no longer controlling it, I guess, after she just made it come alive. Okay, and here she's obviously watching it. She's obviously watching after it. Why does she do this? Why does she close the eyes? Here, why? Like, you can fill that with some acting. You can make her like, ooh, I'm so proud I made it. Like, you know, something that would explain why she looks away. And then we also need to see that she lost the broom. Then she needs to be like, wait, where is it? Like, maybe even look more in this direction. And then it comes from behind. I feel like that would make more sense. That would make it more believable. Other than that, there's anticipation in there. There's overshoot in there. Yeah, it's decent animation. I love the camera shake as they pass the camera. Again, I would commit to poses more. Like, I wouldn't water them down again. Like, she makes that pose and then immediately it goes into the direction of the next pose. I don't think you need to do that as strongly. Yeah, I like how the broom picks her up. Maybe that could have been even stronger. Like, hold her in the air for 2 frames more, maybe. Like when it bumps her up here, hold her like a little bit more, just a tiny bit, like get some more easing here, and then she's on the way down, something like that. Just try it. You know, sometimes just 2 frames more can make it more interesting. Yeah, lovely animation. Thank you very much. And the next one. Oh, we're part of a big spell. Transformation. Okay. Nice. So much going on. Okay, so this magician actually really knows what he's doing. He has done this before. Now, I'm not sure if you should start with a hand pose that big. Like, if he's controlling something that is in front of him, I feel like it would make more sense if he contains it. Like, why would he be like that? I feel like if you do something with stuff that is in front of you, you would be more like that, you know, having it contained. I feel like you open it too early, at least in that one hand, in that one, to be like that. I think it makes sense that he has it, the hands bent over like that, the fingers, bent over like that. Love the timing, how he gets the staff, how it's a really small ease, and then that last spacing is just huge. Really nice. And you know, here I like the open fingers. Maybe it's spread a little too much. I like grouping in the fingers. I already said that. Maybe that would have been enough. Giving it some more direction. You know, if you just open it like that, I feel like it might not feel like it has force in that direction enough. And then how he grows the second pair of arms. Now, I was a bit disappointed that like the skulls just vanish. Wouldn't it be cool if that skull actually becomes... If this skull actually becomes that head? Like if it goes up and gives it the bone structure so he can create this head, like that they're actually being used, those heads, that they not just vanish, but that they are part of the transformation. Maybe. And then you have some really crazy frames going on here. And then some parts. Like, this is so hard to pull off in 3D, I feel like, to combine rigs like that. Nice. And then the kick behind. This looks painful, that transformation. Here I wonder if you shift too much on all legs. Like, it doesn't feel like he is having weight on something. I mean, I guess he has the weight on that leg. This way you're just kind of pulling it all together. It doesn't look too wrong, though. It looks okay. Now here, I don't know, why would he immediately go into that pose? Like, the transformation looked so painful. I feel like it's a little more relaxed, too relaxed. The cat just starts licking. I mean, cats also do this out of anxiety, like for a very short moment, but there's... I mean, I don't know how you intended this, but he probably still has the mind of the magician, right? And maybe he should show something that he's like happy that it worked, or I don't know. I mean, he must have turned into a cat for a reason. It's just so difficult to fit it all into 11 seconds, I guess. Love that look up. That head turn, though. That slow head turn. So painful. Yeah, I love that you have this one leg after the other. You know, I do like things happening one after the other, and the jump up. And here's my monster cat. I love that he's moving the pot a little bit at the end. Wonder if the camera is a bit too much. I like the slow move in, then slowly looking up. Here I wonder if the camera could lag behind even more when he is coming down. I don't understand this lag. Like the camera is moving up after he's on the ground. That's very unusual for like a live action movie. The camera would always be at the same height, or almost be the entire time at the same height on a tripod. Maybe on a crane, but this is not a crane move. I mean, it could be, but something feels a bit unnatural about it. But yeah, very difficult transformation. I love how you blend the different rigs. Really tough to do, really nice. Let's have a look at the next animation. Okay. Okay, let's start at the beginning. I love this pose. I like it. There's a lot of energy in it. Oh, I'm not sure about the hand placed on his body, though. I think the more classic 2D animation pose would be to have it more like this. Hello, cat. My cat's here. You know, to have it stick out in that direction is a very classic cartoon thing that you could do. Okay, something isn't right with the ease here. Like, I feel like it's just the spacings are way too uniform. It feels like the head travels exactly the same space all the time. You definitely need to start with an ease, and maybe, yeah, no, you should also stop with an ease. It should be more, if we visualize the spacings, it should be more like this, you know, with spacings growing faster. And then, you know, here it can be really, you can have really big spacings, but you need to soften the motion a little bit. And I think that would make it feel more elegant overall. Love that he's using the staff as a cane. If it's supposed to be on the ground, you need to pay attention that it actually stays in place. It clearly moves. I think it even moves through the ground here. Okay, and there's some stuff happening with that hand, that other hand, this one. Okay, what's going on here? It's on there, and then it went up for a little bit for a frame or so, like this, and then it goes down. But here, like, what is that? Like, give it a nice lag behind. It should just point in the direction that it came from. Maybe like that. Okay, sorry, my cat is in the way. I can't see the screen anymore. Then it's just going back and forth and going forth and going back. This could just be all one motion, you know, of the hip moving over here. Again, with an ease, make sure that the motion starts slow and ends slow. That's how it's usually with the hips. And while the hip is going there, you know, in an arc dipping down, and while the hip is going there, you have the hand settling and maybe getting there a little later, like 3 to 5 frames later than the rest. That could be nice. like the double tap. Again, very uniform spacing. For the tap now, you would have a spacing pattern that's similar to the bouncing ball, where you would have a ease at the beginning here and ease out, and then you would just have a huge spacing, and then it would just bounce back like that with a huge spacing going back, and then an ease here. So it really feels like there was a resistance there, then it hit something. I don't quite understand his spell. Like, I somehow like it, but I mean, I feel like it reminds me too much of like cartoon yelling, a character yelling at something. Okay, so what's weird about this is his shoulder is moving, but his hands stay in place. They should also move back and forth. And this is most likely because you're using IK instead of FK. But I feel like if everything is shivering back and forth in that direction, then the hands should definitely too. Again, a really strong pose. I like that you commit to these really strong poses. Okay, and just when it gets interesting, you put the curtain in front of it. Okay, this pose ends all too sudden. Like, you have a little bit of an overlap, like the legs come to a standstill first and then the hands, but then the hands are not doing an ease or an overshoot. And especially here, I think it would be good if the arm would do a little bit of an overshoot first, go over its goal, and bend it down, and all with a nice easing pattern. So make sure in the graph editor that, curves look like that and not like that. I love that he's looking up first, like that he's rotating his head first. There's a breakdown missing, like this is just a robotic turn. A real head turn dips down a little bit. I feel like there could be something happening in the neck. I feel like the neck could go a little bit more in that direction. Maybe the shoulder already dips a little bit, to have it look less robotic and more real, more organic. I do like that he's looking first, though, that he's going like, and then he's checking. Like, there's stuff going on in his head. I like that. Okay. Again, I'm not quite sure if this breakdown is right, like how he's turning his hand. I think you would probably lift the hand all the way up and turn it up here and then put it down. And then we will never know what was going on here. Again, the head turn feels very robotic, very stiff. We talked about this. And here comes the curtain. Okay. Yeah. Overall, some really nice animations here. I'm so proud of you guys. They are so entertaining and fun to watch. And there's so many creative ideas in here. If you want me to critique your animations, you can book a mentoring session with me on animatorisland.com/mentoring. We can go over a scene that you're working on, a film, or your demo reel, and I can help you to make your animation even better. If you want to learn 2D animation or just freshen up your animation basics, I have a 2D animation class coming out soon on animatorisland.com/2D, where you can register to get notified when the course is out, or when the course is out, you can just watch it there. And yeah, I hope this was helpful to you. I, of course, didn't have time to go into all the details. I still hope that it was helpful. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see you again in the Anim Challenge group on animatorisland.com. And yeah, keep on animating. Goodbye.